Welcome everybody to the patch 25.11 tier list, and in this tier list we got ourselves AJ with us, an NA challenger player, multi-seasonal, multi-account challenger player, going to be backing us up with the tier list right here. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be tiering all of these champions that have received changes or are due to a new tier. Of course, we still got the previously tiered champs still in the tier right here, and we're just going to be starting off with Ryze, because Ryze is getting some big buffs. Very specifically, we're going to go down and look at them. Ryze is getting some extra damage upon his passive overload flux damage, which means that if he lands an E plus Q, he gets extra increased damage right here, but he loses a little bit of base damage upon the W, which is fine because of the fact that the base damage of this ability was already crazy high. And I don't think Ryze was bad to begin with. What do you think about Ryze?
No, I think he was, first of all, staple competitive pick, staple pro player pick. I saw him a lot on high elo, especially in Challenger. I think this champion was already really good. So I get that they're buffing him because of the Roa nerf, right, from last patch. But I think even after the Roa nerf, he was still really strong. So yeah, I think this champion is it's a premium mid laner on this patch, in my opinion. Absolutely premium pick.
I think he's really good. One of the main things to note with Ryze is that Ryze has a lot of tools to minimize the early lane. He can run defensive secondary rune pages in Resolve, and he has the wave clear to potentially play offensive defense, get himself into reset cycles against champs that should usually bully and poke him out. He has the ability to go defensive boots and defensive early game stats. This champion, especially at level 6, is just going to be absolutely unlocked. It's just an insanely strong champ. The damage increase is really high, and I think therefore he might even be bottom of S tier. High A tier, bottom S tier. I would say bottom S. What do you think?
I think it's top of A, and the reason why it's not S is because, yes, Ryze is extremely strong, and he has a lot of good traits, but he does still have some big weaknesses. Like, if you play against a comp that outranges you, you will struggle, right? So I don't think he can be picked in every single game like a Zoe, in my opinion. Like, I think because Azir is, I mean, we'll talk about Azir, but I think Azir is quite a good champion as well, and Ryze really hates playing against Azir, in my opinion, because you just get outranged. And yeah, in my opinion, I think he's bottom of A, but I could see S. I just think some matchups are really rough in the mid game, not necessarily in lane, but like the mid game can feel really awkward to play as Ryze, especially like Senna and Smolder meta and bot as well. That kind of hurts him as well, in my opinion. So I would say A.
So we'll be a bit conservative. We'll put him in A for now, and if the tier list develops a little bit later, we might shift him up if we look at the matchups.
We can revisit. Yeah,
exactly. So the next one is a bit of a controversial one right here, which is Annie. And Annie has been a champ that, we don't really like this champion stylistically of what the champ does. But she has been to the point, especially the last patch, where she just kind of was power creeping in a way. I'm not sure, how did you experience Annie?
I thought she was really strong last patch. Like, it's really weird that a champion that is short range with her spells can like win lane against a control mage, right? Like, you would think that Ori versus Annie, oh man, this Ori is gonna bully Annie to the ground. But no, what would actually happen is that Annie would start E, use her auto range, take Ahri and Scorch, and like you E, and the Ori loses the trade, which doesn't really make that much sense. And she's like, so I think because of that, she's like a really powerful mid laner, even though, yes, again, stylistically, I'm not the biggest fan of her. So yeah, I think the W nerfs do hit her wave clear, which definitely hurts her a lot. But she does have some pretty strong laning power, and I do think that she'll still be solid. I think she'll go from like you said, really power creepy last patch at like an A tier champ to maybe a little bit lower now, maybe like bottom of B or something along those lines.
I think that the main thing we have to understand, right, is that this change really hurts Annie's weakness. And it makes her weakness even more weak, because the fact that you running these numbers right now, maybe I'm not a calculative pro, right? But it may be the difference between you being able to one-shot or not one-shot waves. And that's just very important. So I definitely think that these changes are with intention made right here. And I think that Annie will probably be still very playable. Potentially, I would put her bottom of A. Maybe high B, depending on what these changes actually do. If she can still clear the wave, 100% still A tier champ. If she cannot, she definitely drops down to B. So let's put her bottom of A right now. And
I'm happy with that.
Next one, Twisted Fate. Small changes. Very similar as to any, but then the other way around. And the Roa changes, of course, have definitely hurt him a little bit, but he now gets a little bit more base damage upon his Q. 10 flat to be specific at every single rank. This also impacts his wave clear, and I think this is now enough to one-shot Kassadin. I'm not sure. What do you think here?
I would assume that Twisted Fate's his entire identity is being able to one-shot caster minions with his Q. So I think they tuned it just enough where it would make that difference, but not enough to make a difference against champions. Or like 10 damage at rank 5 against champions is like nothing, right? Yeah. So, I think this should impact his wave clear, which is a good thing for this champion. Yeah. I still think even after the road nurse, he's still okay in solo queue, in my opinion. Right? It just Twisted Fate is always a good solo queue champ. So yeah, I mean, I'm fine with this. I think this is like a good change in the right direction for this for TF. I like it.
I think that if he indeed has the possibility to one-shot casters, I think he's actually becoming very strong, because it's always the TF effect with his ult, and the early opportunities for double ruby crystals do really help him in the bad lanes. So I am going to go with the assumption that he can clear casters, and that we're going to see him in A tier, bottom A tier. What do you think?
Yeah, I like him in A. I think he's a solid A tier champion, pretty good, especially for solo queue specifically.
Yeah, 100%. So Smolder, you've been a big Smolder enjoyer for a long time already, and he's been a bit OP last patch, and he's getting some small changes. What do you reckon here?
Yeah, so Smolder is a very interesting champion, and the fact that he's a champ that has a very fine line between being completely worthless and literally so oppressive that it's like so unfun to play against. Because like every patch we were talking about Smolder, and we were putting like bottom of D, bottom of D, bottom of D, bottom of D. And then last patch, the second I saw those numbers, I was like, that champ is going to be really powerful. And you know what happened? His win rate became 50% in bot, which means that he is beyond overpowered. If a scaling late game champion has a 50% win rate in their role, they're disgustingly OP. And that actually bled into mid a little bit as well. Like I played him mid. I think I played a game of Smolder versus Mouse. I had 225 stacks at 16 minutes, and the enemy FF'd at 15 minutes, because once you hit 225, it's back to old Smolder. Once you hit that 225 with 2 items, you literally one-shot everyone. Now, I will say that he doesn't have the best meta mid lane matchups. Like against Azir, he really struggles. And there's not really that many ADCs mid to cover, like they can cover against. So that does hurt him in mid a little bit, and the nerfs do hurt him a little bit in mid. But I do think he's actually like a pickable counterpick champ in mid now. So I think he's like a solid C tier champion. Like I think he's good in the right game. But like you can't play him in like every single game, because again, he's like one of those champs where it's like either you're completely worthless or you just solo carry, right? Like you play against Mouse, you're chilling. You play against Vlad, you're chilling. But you play against like a Syndra or an Azir, you're really gonna struggle.
You're gonna get nuked. Okay. Yeah. So we're just gonna follow the Smolder expert's advice, because I'm gonna be honest, I have seen 0 Smolder mids. I've seen him on bot. I've seen him pop off. It was on mid lane. No Smolder I've seen it yet. So I think C is a completely fair tier for the Smolder here. Next up, we're gonna move on to Ahri, and Ahri has been hovering around that SA. Where do we exactly put her? And she doesn't really have any changes this patch, but I do think that she's settled, and I think that we can now really give a good idea on where she's actually consistently at. And before we go into I want to show one thing, right? And I think this is really, that's also why I searched up this website. I think this is a big highlight, right? For the people that don't see it right here, because we are on the camera, I'm going to quickly move it right here. What we see right here is that Ahri actually has insane pick rate in professional play. Like the pick rate's through the roof. And I have seen so many Ahri Azir matchups over the past few weeks in LCK that this champ must be good. Like, it's just a really, really good champion. So what do you think?
No, I agree. So let's just talk about the timeline of Ahri, right? Start of the split, season, Ahri really not that strong. Then what happened is that people discovered the Roa build, right? Or like the end of last, whatever that was. People discovered the Roa build. She became very strong, like S tier. And then they nerfed Roa and they changed her AP ratio, so higher AP ratios, lower base damage, right? Which that hurt her quite a bit, right? And so people have to go back to Malignants and Ludens or Blackfire, which honestly were just average items across the board. But then what happened is they buffed a lot of items that Ahri really loves this patch, right? They buffed Storm Surge, which I think can be quite good on her. They buffed Lichbane, which is obviously amazing on her. They buffed Blackfire. They buffed Malignants, they buffed Ludens. Literally every single item under the sun, Horizon Focus, every item under the sun has been changed to complement Ahri, in my opinion, right? And the ones that got hit, like Archangels, she never really built anyway. So I think this propels her to really high heights. Like I played Ahri, and before these item changes, I felt she was just lacking a little bit of damage to kill her target. But now with these buffs, that little bit of AP and the AP ratio buffs on her make a big difference, because that changes her threshold from maybe barely not killing somebody to killing somebody getting a reset. And in my opinion, that massively changes the way you play Ahri. And I think that makes her an S tier champion, in my opinion. I think she's amazing right now on this patch.
Yeah, and I think we also have to understand, like, it's not just the items, it's just the kit, right? This champ is just a solo queue champ, right? It's the perfect. You got the dashes, you got the pick tools, you got the wave clear, you got even some extra mobility in the W. Your kit is just made for solo queue. I heard she's also going to get some new skins, so no, I definitely agree with ST. I think if you're an Ahri player, you're just in such a solid position. Your build flexibility is absolutely through the roof. You can build anything situationally correct. It's just a monster solo queue pick at the moment.
And one thing I would even add, like, because we're also seeing her a lot on pro play, I would even go a step further. She is just the de facto mid lane champion, right? Like, if you think about Ahri, she's got decent laning, she's got decent scaling depending on the game, she's got good mobility, she's got multiple ways to play. You can play assassin or front to back. She's got CC, she's got self peel, she's got good itemization. She has everything.
She can side lane even as a mage.
She's got side lane. She has literally everything that you could possibly want as a mid laner. Like, when you think mid lane champion, there's two champs that come to mind, which we'll talk about the other one when we get to it. But I think Ahri is like one of them, right? For sure. Like, she has everything. So I think she's definitely an S plus tier mid laner in both competitive and solo queue, just everywhere, in my opinion.
Yep, I agree. Ahri, definitely up there. So Syndra was one of these champs that we had really, really high over the past few patches. And I do want to revisit Syndra a little bit, because I still think that she is an incredible champ. She's still really oppressive, especially if you get to watch your Q upgrade. The impact that you have in the game is insanely high. I don't think that she is at the level, though, of the Zoe and the Ahri. I think she's top of A tier at the moment. That's where I would put her. And the main reasoning is also that her builds and her nerfs over the last a few patches ago, they did hit her a little bit. And you got now people running around with more first strike, which is now synergizing a little bit better with Syndra, because she synergized a little bit better with gold. You got these slight AP item changes that just allow her for a little bit more flexibility, but it's not this raw core Syndra that just performs every game, every meta, every draft. It's just not her anymore. She's just barely not there, and therefore I would say she's top of A tier. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, you're the Syndra expert, so I'll say based on how I feel playing against Syndra. Usually, I'm really frustrated playing against Syndra compared to other control mages, because I feel like she's got everything. But recently, I felt she's like on the receiving end, her power level has felt similar to Viktor or Ahri. Yeah, like those two, like they feel similar in power to Syndra. So I would say like they're all kind of similar playing fields. So I would put her, I would put her at A next to Ahri comfortably. I'm like, I think they're very similar now in weird ways. Like, sure, Ahri's a little bit better in lane now. Syndra has a little bit better scaling, but like the way I feel playing against them feels pretty similar now. So like I would put them very close to each other, in my opinion.
Syndra is beatable at the moment. I played against Syndra today.
I felt that as well.
She's absolutely beatable.
Yeah, I agree.
Cool. Another champ I want to revisit is one of the, I think this is just probably one of the most underrated champs that we've seen over the past year. And this is a champ that I've been consistently recommending to everyone in the MLA, it's Galio. Because this champ has just been there over the past year. Such an incredible pick. Does incredibly well versus most champs. Game is still quite skirmish heavy. He's just ready to be there and make it and be at the place. He has the wave control with his Qs. He has the mobility. He has the CC setup. I think this champ is just so unbelievably consistent and solid. Have you seen much Galio?
Yeah, so Galio is a really interesting one because my perception of Galio is really warped because I never play against a Galio main, right? What happens is that I play in high elo. Let's say I pick, not Hwei, but let's say I pick like a Viktor, right? Yep. What happens is somebody with 10 games of Galio plays Galio and it just doesn't look that strong. But what I felt recently is that actually what happened is that I played at a scrim against a challenger player. He's a Galio main. Like he plays Galio Taliyah. So kind of similar-esque champions in terms of what they want to do around the map. And he completely annihilated me in lane and impacted the entire map. It was freaking insane. Yeah. So that really like showed me like, oh wow, like this is actually the power of Galio. Like this guy has really good tools to impact the map. So yeah. I think Galio is a very, very strong champion, but not in a traditional way the other mid laners are strong, right? He's really good because he's very stable. He's a stable pick. You won't really lose lane. You might not really like dominate your lane either. Like you're not gonna like solo kill your opponent in that regard. And you're not really like some kind of scaling hyper carry monster, but you're like a good front line. You have amazing utility, right? You can complement your jungler and your ADC and your top really, really well. So I think that he is like the champion if you're a mid lane player who likes to like play that type of style. So I think he's like he's extremely strong in those regards. And yeah, I think he's like an A-tier champ. I think he's very, very solid. And I think the reason why he's underrated is that a lot of people don't value those skill sets, right? People value like the really flashy stuff, like playing Sylas and like stealing all in 1v3 or like
main character syndrome.
Yeah, so it's like I think that's what makes him underrated. But yeah, I think he's an insanely powerful champion. As if you put the mastery on him.
Yeah, like if you're looking to like climb, right, and you want to build a pool, add this champ to your pool. It's just the pool fixer.
Yes.
This is the evergreen champ that will just win you 56 to 60% of your games consistently and help you climb. This champ is just the most evergreen A champ that you can get at the moment.
There's been so many drafts where like we have a chanter support, ADC, carry jungle, carry top, and it's like fuck me. If I could play Galio, we would just win this game for free. And I don't have the mastery on him. So yeah, I think he's just such a good champ for fitting that role.
And I understand it in a way as well, right? Because I'm not a Galio fan myself playing it. Like, I just can't stand playing this champ myself because I'm a guy that has issue with main character syndrome.
Yeah.
So if I play this champ, I do stupid shit. But fuck me, is he good.
Yeah.
Okay, our favorite champ.
Oh, man. Okay. How do we even start with Hwei? So Hwei's been on a roller coaster with us. And you guys know I said a lot of things about Hwei, and Tim has said a lot of things about Hwei. And I'm actually going to go back on my statement. I'm going to say I'm wrong. I thought this champ was weak, and maybe he was a little bit weak before the item changes. But after playing him and realizing and really playing into his strengths, this champion has got me so much LP. I think I've climbed to my highest peak I've ever climbed. I'm like high challenger now in NA. I have like an 80% win rate in my last 20 games with Hwei on my main account. And I think this champ is actually really, really, really good. But in different ways than Syndra, Hwei, or Viktor, and very specific ways as well. Like, that you have to use really, really well. So, let me go into detail. I think Hwei, what he's really good at is using his lane strength to impact the map. Because the problem with a champion like Syndra or Ahri or Viktor is like, they can struggle a little bit to use their priority to impact the map at a play, right? It can be really, really awkward. And yes, Hwei has those issues as well, but not as much because he has such overwhelming amount of wave clear at like level 5 and 7 that you are there at a place so early that you can actually put yourself in a position to make a skirmish work as a control mage, which is very unique for him. And it's something I didn't feel / realize until I started implementing that in my higher challenger games. And I felt the impact. Like, I've won so many games off of level 5, off of level 7 skirmishes, because I'm there so much earlier than my opponent because I set up my wave in advance with my high wave clear, right? So like that strength alone is something that I really underrated, and that I think Tim also kind of underrated, and that is something that's kind of invisible, and I think that really propels him high in this tier list. I actually think that makes him an A tier champion, which is crazy because I was saying he was like borderline D before, like a C, bottom of C, D,
we had him
because he
C
still
here.
has those weaknesses, like I talked about. Like his scaling is still not amazing, right? Like he scales as well as like. Yeah, like his scaling is not that amazing, right? I think other champions still outscale, other control mages still outscale him. I think his side laning still is kind of rough, right? And I have felt playing games in Challenger where side laning can be rough. But what I have noticed is that I just snowball so hard off of the early game, as long as you're keeping aware of it, that I just go like full Magic Pen build, and I just one-shot everybody because I'm so fed. And it's because I win almost every single early game skirmish this way. And so I think, in my opinion, because of that, I could be biased now because I've had success with him, but I think that makes him A tier, in my opinion. I think this champ is really good if you play towards his utility that he provides and his early game wave clear strength.
I really want to make a nice comparison here, right? Because I'm a big Syndra guy. And I've also played my fair share of Hwei, also this season, of course, with the unranked to masters and redoing the Hwei guide on the MLA. But I want to compare Hwei to Syndra in a way, because where I found the biggest comparison is that if you compare Syndra with Q upgrade, you have that same dominance of just wave control that is just so hard to break through. And Hwei is a very similar champ like that. If you can get into this position where you can generate the prio, can get the lane control, and walk away with it, you're everywhere, basically. Even as an immobile control mage, you're everywhere. And if you're first to the place, and you can control these choke points with your QE, you're just a menace. Like, it's just, how good are we at putting ourselves in a position to play out our champion identity? And that's my favorite example is Chovy. If you see Chovy on this champ, it looks different to anyone else playing this champion. I think he's probably the only one. I've not seen many other players do it, but I know that Chovy played a Hwei game or two, and he's been quite popular. But Chovy's just winning, and he's been winning every game this split. But it makes sense, you know. It makes sense if you can be early, if you can use the lane control, if you can get that control on that first move. This champ just works. It just works. But if you don't, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah.
So no more Hwei hate comments, please. We've finally
I love this champion.
Seen the light.
No way. I love this champion. I think he's really good. I've literally climbed like 300 LP in 2 weeks with him, like on my main. So he's good.
That's cool. In 2 weeks, he's back to D tier. All right, next champion here. We're moving on. Azir. So
yeah, let's talk about Azir. Yes.
So you're the Azir expert, but I've been dabbling in some Azir for the past few days, because we're currently creating an Azir guide in the MLA, which is going to be released next week for sure. And yeah, I've played about like 20-25 Azir games at the moment, and I'm starting to get a real good feeling of this champion. The first 10 games for me were just a shit show. Like, my laning, everything was just, it wasn't good enough on this champ. But the more I started experimenting and the more I got used to the W, I actually can really see this champion shine because of just your raw power and damage output. Like, this champ deals so much damage, by the way.
Yeah.
And you're so flexible. You got this mobility, you got the options with your ult, you have the options to play fights in different ways. And this is just tools that a lot of other champs don't have. And I think therefore in high elo, this automatically, if you can just get to that level 7, especially level 9, just consistently, you're just going to find success with this champ because your impact in the mid to late game is just so high. Yeah. You've been playing a lot of them. What do you think?
Yeah, so I'm going to go on a little bit of a monologue here. And let me preface this by saying, guys, this is, again, a tier list coming from Master Plus to the peak, right? To High Challenger. This is not Platinum to Emeralds, right? This is a high elo-centric tier list. And even Master tier players struggle with this here. But in my opinion, I'm going to go on a limb and say right now, Azir is literally the best champion in the game. Not even a mid laner. I think this champion is literally the best champion in the entire game. And you can see it. You can see it in pro play. If you look at pro play, if you go watch any pro play draft, he is always banned on red side, or he is instantly picked on blue side as the first pick. There is not a single mid laner in the game that can match him. The only one is Taliyah in pro play, right, who has a similar rate. We'll talk about. But I think that this champion does everything well and has the weaknesses are only weaknesses based off of your skill level, as weird as that sounds. Like, I think early game laning is not even bad if you're really, really insane on him, right? Like, the matchup I always like to think about is Yone versus Azir, because that's traditionally a counter to Azir, is Yone. And I'm an expert on both these champs. Recently, it has felt so hard to play against a good Azir player as Yone, and when I play the other side of the matchup, Azir feels so easy to play against Yone. Like, the lethal tempo, right? The how fast you scale, the buff to Nashor's Tooth being cheaper, Magic Pen items which are good on him being cheaper with Storm Surge, the Ryze build coming out, which has been quite good that Chovy's been doing. This champion is just does, as Tim said, does everything, right? I was talking about how Ahri does everything. I think Azir's truly the millionaire, does literally everything. He's got wave clear, right? He's got skirmishing after your first reset. He's got gank setup. He's got self-peel, he's got split pushing, he's got his turret to allow him to push, he can cheat prio with his turret, he's got mobility, I don't even know if I covered that yet, he can play front to back, he can play dive, he can play peel, he does, I could go on for literally an hour talking about this champ. The thing that is gated behind this champion that will always forever be gated is your mastery on him and your idea and your ability to execute on the fundamentals. So for most people, he will not be the best champion in the game. In fact, for me and for a while, he was like a C tier champion because I couldn't execute. It took me hundreds and hundreds of games of me working on him to get him to the point where I'm at now with him. And now I feel like I pick Azir, I just get a free win. Like, I remember when I was getting my Smurf to Challenger, I like would lose 4 games in a row on stream, and I'd be like, you know what, guys, I'm just gonna play 5 games in a row of Azir, and I would win every game, and I would just get all my LP back. It's just like this champ just literally does everything once you have the mastery on him, and yeah, again, and pro play is reflected. I really think this is literally the best champion in the entire game right now. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that.
I fully agree, and the stats support it as well, right?
Yeah,
and I want to share a bit more about my experience, right? Because we have already, in the MLA, we have already like really only recommended Emerald Plus players to play Azir. The more I actually play him, the more I respect his level of difficulty even more. Because when I pick up a new champ, I've played that poke Azir, that strong laning Azir in the past, you know, it's a completely different champ at the moment. It's just good to change. It's a completely different champ with how he plays out in the lane. And normally, I can get a good grasp of a champ in, I think, 20 games. I'm pretty confident I can just play this game at a high level and be okay with it. If I pick this Azir champ on my main account right now, I'll go 15 deaths and get reported by 4 of my teammates. That's how hard this champ is.
Yes.
So really, the master curve is so high. Indeed, it requires hundreds and hundreds of games, specifically reviewed, specifically knowing exactly the minor details, and just understanding not only the details of the champ, but also the game fundamentals. And once everything comes together, you get this Exodia type champ that is currently on mid lane. Very inspirational.
Yeah, and just to add, I think he is simultaneously the best champion in League, but also, like, at least for mid, the hardest mid laner in the game as well, in my opinion, at least. I don't think there's a harder mid laner this year because, again, like you said, there's because you can do everything, you got to know what you're supposed to be doing, right? Like, there's no, like, the clarity comes from your mastery of the game, right? So it's like, when you play Azir, even if you put in 500 games, you can be good at Azir, but if you're not learning the fundamentals of mid, or you don't understand your job, you're going to be worthless still anyway. So that is, like, he's got 2 separate layers that, like, feed on top of each other. So it's like, yes, guys, he is extremely strong, but just be very careful if you're going to pick him up. And you got to expect that there's going to be a very steep learning curve and a very difficult challenge you're going to go through. Like, you're going to put yourself under the heat if you play this champion.
I think if you're a Master Plus player, especially if you're a Master Plus player that plays maybe in ERLs or in other competitive leagues in NA, do pick him, right? Do learn him. Over the long period of time, especially if you got like coaching and if you got a team of players that are helping you and allowing you to refine your skills and the fundamentals, this champ is going to be your consistent pocket pick. And the reality is, Riot wants it in pro as well, because it's just an exciting champ. It does cool things with dashes and stuff like that, you know. So Riot wants this champ in the game, at the highest level, not below that, because then he'd be too good. So he is going to be present. He's always going to be in the Master Plus tier, going to be lingering right here if you have good mastery. So invest in it. Even I am going to continue with my Azir journey after this. I'm not just going to randomly stop with it. And I'm just going to refine the champ because I also see what this champ is capable of right now. And there's just so much room to improve. Beautiful champ. We're moving on. Taliyah. We got the number 2 champ at the moment in the game. Also, like, just looking at the stats, she is absolutely incredible. Let me quickly move back the tier list right here. Yeah, she's just absolutely incredible. And what she does really well is she's insanely high wave clear. She has really good brute forcing upon man advantages. Also, good side laning in her fast wave clear. Phase rush to be mobile and get away from tricky situations. This champ is just the number 2 out there. What do you think about this champ?
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. I think she is Azir's twin, pretty much, in the meta right now. Like, these 2 champions, if they're up in pro play, they are picked, boom, just like that, instantly. And that's why usually you see most teams, they can't afford to ban Azir and Taliyah on red side every game. So what happens is that one team gets first pick Azir, other team gets Taliyah, or one team gets Taliyah, or blue team first picks Taliyah, the other team picks Azir. It's like, these champions, they go hand in hand, because Taliyah is... I mean, you nailed it on the head. Like, she's got priority in lane all the time, which is, again, like we talked about with Hwei, right? That's basically what you need, right? You got priority in lane. You can create man advantage with your ults. She has very good scaling. She synergizes with the bot lane meta right now, right? Well, what does bot lane love? They pick engage champs literally on cooldown. And guess what Taliyah loves? Engage champs. Guess what the jungle meta is? Point and click CC, insanely strong bruisers. Wukong, guess what? Taliyah loves that. Pantheon, guess what? Taliyah loves that. I'm even missing one. Xin Zhao, guess what? Taliyah loves that. All of these like point and click bruisers, Taliyah loves, right? So I think she's just good because the meta around her is really good. She's one of the only champions that actually has a solid matchup into his year in pro play.
Yep.
She can side lane, which you really need in pro play. She can create man advantages, which you need. She syncs up with her engage support. She's just very good in the meta right now. Like, I think she will always be at least an A tier champion no matter what, especially in solo queue. But yeah, like, this meta has been really kind to her as well. Like, she just loves this meta right now. So yeah, I think she is right next to Azir. I don't really have much else to add.
Sometimes it's just that easy. Why overcomplicate it when it's just simple?
Yep.
Taliyah is just S tier. Incredible champ.
Yeah.
Pick her up if you can. Learning curve, a lot less steep than Azir.
Yes.
Give it 100, 120 games, get used to the W, and you're good to go on this champ.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, Mel. Now, this is always just a one that's so hard to grasp.
Yes.
Like, how strong is Mel, like, actually? And
yeah,
I know that if we look at the stats, like, she's just not that good. And I think in reality, I think that for solo queue, she is also not that good. I think if you're really good on a champ and you pick in the right matchup, you can work. Personally, I know Curtis loves this champ. He made the guide. He has his own idea around this champion. He even did some extra content piece on YouTube with Nathan. But if I look at this champ, I don't really see it. I think she's C tier. What do you think?
This is gonna be like the Hwei all over again. I have given this champ a lot of games, guys, like 50, 75, 100 games.
Yeah.
The problem with this champion, she has what I call the Yone effect, right? She feels really fucking bullshit to play against, especially if you're not putting in the time and effort to learn how to counter her kit, because you got specific tools you got to learn how to play against. If you don't do that well, she feels really bullshit to play against. Like, I remember one time I played against Taliyah walled. I reflected her wall and Poppy stunned the Taliyah, and when we one-shot her. So like, that must feel so insanely infuriating to play against. But the reality is, because all that power budget is in her frustration, they have to make her weak. So what happens is that it's a two-sided coin. The Mel player feels really shit to play Mel as well, in my opinion. And a lot of games when I play Mel, if you can't get your damage off with your E and Q, your champ is literally terrible. Like, if you're playing against a Yasuo and he's dashing around and you can't land your E into your Q into an auto attack to get damage off, like, you just don't do any damage. Or like another game I played against a Fiora who had lifesteal with Hydra, and she just split push, and she would just like she took like 8% of her health from my Q and E because I'm not hitting all my Qs and Es, and you need to stack up your passive to get your ult damage, right? To actually kill people. So the problem with Mel is that if you don't pick Mel in a game where the enemy is frustrated from her W, she is literally like the inverse of Azir, literally the worst fucking champion in the game. But if you pick a game where like you're against Hwei or Ahri, where you can reflect a good amount of their spells, or like you're against a Sejuani jungle, right? Or like some kind of support that has a projectile engage. She is like actually solid. She can hold her own, right? So I think she's very similar to Smolder in that regard, actually. Like some games she's gonna be completely miserable. Other games she's gonna be so insanely infuriating to play against. It's gonna be like bullshit to play against. That's how I feel about Mel personally.
I agree. I think she's like the definition of C tier at the moment.
Yeah.
Good in some games, terrible in other games. I think what makes this champ also so misunderstood is that, especially in lane, and I get so many of these questions in the MLA like throughout the day. And how do I play in the Mel with this champ? How do I play in the Mel in this champ? I just say, just stop trying to 1v1 her. Whenever she has a W, just stop trying to 1v1 her. If you're Ahri, just focus on the wave instead of the Mel. Get towards your wave clear breakpoint and look for skirmishes around neutrals. Level 7 skirmish with your dashes. What is Mel going to do? Nothing. This champ is so useless in these skirmishes because every ability is flashable. She cannot get her stacks consistently. Her abilities are insanely linear, so it's really easy to dodge, especially in the higher elos. But people try to brute force through the champ itself, and that's what she's kind of good at denying. So once you learn it, C tier.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. Like just the final thing is like you're literally. I love that what you said. That's like her skill shots are not hard to dodge, right? Like once you learn how to dodge the Q and E, like actually think about her kit. If you play in a way where you don't get your ability reflected by her W, and you dodge her E, and you only get hit by one little fucking like little tick of her Q, where's her damage? Like actually, where's her damage? She has 0 abilities, like 0 damaging abilities. So this is again, like it's like as long as you learn how to play against her and you dodge her linear skill shots, you dodge her E, you dodge her Q, you play around her reflect, and like Tim said, you wave clear against her, you play skirmishes, you just like can't do anything. And like if you look at her win rate, reflects that. Literally, unironically, Smolder mid's win rate is higher than Mel, which is that's saying something. That is saying something, right?
She's rivaling Yone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Yone effect.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. C tier. Simple as that. I'm gonna swap up one champ right here because I saw it in the tier list, right? Because Viktor is all the way down here in C tier on Lodalytics. But I think that there is just this massive issue that people have with this itemization of this champ. Because I think this champ is actually just really good. It's just a really good champ. And if we go to this, the biggest issue is that people are still buying the Rod of Ages. Now,
yeah, it's so bad on him.
It's so fucking bad.
That's so bad.
It's disgustingly bad. And they, especially if you look at Emerald Plus here, right? Holy moly, it's the most bought item. Like, this is just criminal.
Yes, please guys, just as a PSA, I don't care what rank you are, but especially you Emeralds, do not buy Roa on Azir. Please, do not buy this item on Viktor.
And they keep buying it. And you just do no damage.
Yeah, it's too slow, right? It's like, this is what I was talking about with Hwei before. Like, before I realized how it's like, you're too slow. Like, you don't do anything for two items. The game's over by then.
Yeah.
The game is over by then if you do that.
Yeah, it's just so bad. And like, they usually combine it with Leanders, and this item also got nerfed. So
this item is so bad as well.
Oh my god.
Please stop building these items on like most champs, not even just Viktor, guys. As a PSA for Leandries, please, for the love of everything, stop buying Leandries. It's not a good item anymore.
Unless you get like a mega angle for it, where you have extended fights and percentage damage.
Yes.
Otherwise, there's better items on the market at the moment.
Yes, I agree.
So yeah, that's my Viktor. It's just S tier, but I mean it's A tier.
So one thing I want to add, something that Ryze done a really good job of is like if you look at all four of those control mages that are there, they're like next to each other. They're all good in a little bit of different ways, right? Like Hwei is really good at being first out of play. Syndra is like a hybrid between that, and she has like good scaling, right? And she has like decent poke. Ori is like all in early game, right? And Viktor is like really bad at skirmishing, but all in lane, right?
And
so,
better
like,
side laning as well with this move speed and
better
slows.
side laning. Yeah, so like all four of these, like I'm actually really happy the way Riot has balanced these four mages. Like looking at it now, like they're all good in different ways, like niche ways. So it depends, guys. Which one do you want? Do you want really good side laning, and do you want to win your lane really hard? Go Viktor. Do you want really good scaling, and do you want to have okay self peel and win your lane decently? Go Syndra, right? If you want to all in on your first 8 minutes and just win the game off your first 8 minutes, go Ori. If you really love that push and move style and having a utility and really controlling and zoning area, go Hwei, right? Like they all have something a little bit different, but like. Yeah, they're still control mages, but they all have different flavors and spices to them. I actually really love the way Riot have balanced these champions recently.
Yeah, when players come to us and ask us a question for like which mage they want to be picking, right? It's just as simple as which one do you like more, which one do you click more with, because they're all so good at teaching mid lane fundamentals, and there's such evergreen champs as well. I think they've been in this solid spot for like half a year now, all of them, right here. maybe Hwei. maybe Hwei got some changes, but besides that,
you got some buffs.
Fantastic spot. Okay, bit of a hot take here. Neeko. I'm not sure if you've seen any Neeko. You of course got APA in your region.
Yep, I have played against this Neeko.
How did it feel?
So it was interesting because I played Ambessa at her peak, so I was able to rival the Neeko.
Okay.
I would always pick Ambessa and the Neeko, and that felt really good because Ambessa has like you can brute force your trades. But Neeko's an interesting champ.
I want to show you some stats, AJ. Look here.
Yeah.
Okay, let's look at some stats here, okay? Let's see what happens. Now, of course, I know bot lane is also massively influenced by this.
This is only support, I think, right?
Exactly. But I do think it is a bit of a highlight. Because I think not only in bot lane, but also on mid lane, this champ has gotten some changes last patch when it comes to the itemization.
Right, yeah, true. The burst items are good.
Exactly, the burst items are better, and especially Proto Belt is a lot more congruent with her champ.
Really good with her.
Exactly.
Right, I didn't even think about that.
I used to be a big Neeko player, actually. Really big Neeko player on mid. And the Proto Belt is just such a crucial part of her champion, because this is what's going to allow you to get these big combos with the ult. So with the Storm Surge that is already very strong as an item in itself, and especially the move speed that it gives, like all of these stats increases that we're constantly getting have put Neeko now in a position where her lane is so strong and her translation of leads, if you do it correctly, is really, really good. People just haven't caught on to it just yet, I think. And the margin for error is really low because the mid game is still dog shit.
It is. Yeah, the mid game, the champion is disgustingly bad if you don't get a lead. Like it's like Hwei, but more exponential. Like Hwei is like plays like a control mage. You can still do fine if you don't get a massive lead. Neeko, I played against some like GM Neekos, and I'll play Yone, which is like a hard lane. But if I survive and I'm like down 5 CS, holy fuck, she is so useless.
Can't play
the rest of the entire game. Yeah.
I would compare it to Ahri in a way, with a stronger lane and a worse side lane.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, I mean, I can't really comment that much. I think she's around B to A then, given what you said, and the one time play against APA, so I'm happy with her being somewhere in that range. Yeah.
Yep, I'd put her low A.
Okay.
So, feel free to go on a monologue. This is all you here, Yone.
Yeah. So, okay, where do we start? So. Okay, if this was a pro player tier list, Yone would be S+, guaranteed, without a shadow of doubt. I'm not going to cope. I'm a Yone main. He is a strong champion, you have the right conditions. The problem is two things. We've got two diverging paths besides pro play, right? So we got three paths. We got the pro play path, we've got the high elo solo queue path, and we've got the low elo solo queue path. Let's start with the low elo solo queue path. People despise, like, Yone might be the most hated champion to play against in the entire game. I've like the amount of people I see complaining about Yone who say this champion's bullshit, he's unfun to play against, yada yada yada, is just unreal, right? And I can understand that, right? If you don't play Yone yourself, or you're not a high elo player, it might be difficult for you to see the counterplay against Yone. You might not understand how to play against Yone, and so what happens that feels extremely frustrating to play against, right? So you're just like, fuck, Riot, please nerf this champ. This champ is so bullshit, right? And so what did I do? They nerf this champ. They nerf this champ. They nerf this champ. They nerf this champ, right? But the problem is that Yone, it's perception versus reality. The perception is bullshit to play against. The reality is when you play this champ, he is so unbelievably hard to play. Like, every time I watch somebody play Yone, even other challengers, they are making hundreds of micro mistakes, like by the second. And like, people will say like, oh, Yone's not that hard micro-wise, like it's not that complicated. And the reality it is. They just perceive that it's not.
Yeah.
And so what happens is that it's really hard to win games with Yone. It's hard to blow up the Nexus. It's hard to get through the early lane. The ability uses has so much flexibility. Your job and role in the game is so hard.
Insane.
Yeah, the E. So it's like an Azir, but it's like an Azir that's like hard and not rewarding in solo queue. So it's like now we get to the high elo, right? And high elo, because they balance around their frustration. Like, Tim, I want you to go to Master Plus. Look at that game average win rate. Like, if you scroll up on that, right? That game average win rate. Look at that. Yeah. So that means that's the win rate when you play against people your rank. So other masters playing against other masters.
I wanna say one thing here. I played against Kadril's Yone. I understand why he's probably the one that's tanking this win rate right here. I'm joking. Continue.
Yeah. So keep in mind, Smolder, when he was a complete piece of shit 2 patches ago, had a similar win rate to Yone, right? Like, he has a similar win rate. And think about that. Smolder, as I just said, is disgustingly bad in in most games, right? Like, Smolder is like, yeah, he was worse, but like similar, right? The fact they're even in the same playing field is baffling to me in terms of win rate, right? That is baffling. That means that, first of all, Yone players have no idea how to play Yone, right? I'm just going out on a limb. Like, I have not seen a Yone player who's not a pro player, or myself, humble brag, execute Yone's mechanics, right? So what happens is that your mechanics are bad, you don't know how to win games with him, you can't get to your Bork, and so, but people fucking hate playing against him. So what happens is that he's just perpetually in this state where if you're not a pro player or a high challenger, you can't use this champion. This champion is unplayable. But if you play against it, it feels bullshit. So this is what I call the Yone effect. So what happens is that they must keep Yone weak so people don't complain about him. Because when he's too strong, then you don't need to have good micro with him. You just stat check everyone, right? So in terms of placement, it's like, yes, if you are a high challenger player, like, I think Yone is really good. I will say that. I think he is still good. Anywhere below that, he is disgustingly bad. And again, I always say this, I have not seen one MLA member have success with Yone. Like, I haven't seen an MLA member like start at Diamond, main Yone, and like climb to like high masters. I've never seen that. They've all stopped and played a different champion, had success, or they're stuck for years. It's just that hard. So I think, in my opinion, he's got to be like, if I'm being very, very nice, I would say B, but probably lower realistically for most people, honestly.
It's a master plus tier list, right? So
yep.
we just gotta put it in perspective. We've stepped away from it being like challenger only. So we're just gonna have to be realistic. Like Yone,
yeah,
we're gonna put him bottom of B.
Yeah, realistically bottom of B, if even that. Like, I think that's us being generous. He's bottom of B.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think bottom of B is realistic here. It is what it is, right? And I think we should actually jump straight to Akali, because I think there is some similarities here.
Yeah.
I do think that Akali got pretty happy with some of the changes that they made to items. Like, her build path and options are just more present right now. And I'm not sure if it also reflects in the win rate. It definitely does. Right? The game average win rate has increased by a nice amount. And I think this champ is just a little bit more solid than she was in the previous patches. Specifically because her build options are now a lot better with the Rocket Belt.
Yes.
And the Lich Bane first item, which she just loves.
Even Storm Surge as well. Like, that item got really buffed as well. So, like,
so
all
good.
3 of her core items got buffed.
That's right.
And to add, actually, guys, Roa got nerfed, which I remember when I played Akali when Roa was really meta. Holy fuck, I hated playing against Roa as Akali so badly. Like, you just can't kill their mid laner. But now that your items are better, the Roa is weaker. So if they go Roa, you kill them. If they don't go Roa, you kill them. So that really helps Akali, in my opinion. Really helps her a lot. Like, cannot be understated.
Yeah, she's decent at the moment. I think
yes,
she was really awkward to play in the Roa meta.
Yes.
Definitely not the best champ, and I also can see it in some of the popularity because I've done an unranked to master on Akali on my YouTube like a month or two ago, and what I saw is I just looked at my YouTube and I was like, what the fuck? What's happening to this video? People are spam watching this video. This video is just insane.
People are excited to play Akali now.
People want to play this champ. I also see it in the MLA. People is just asking me, okay, what do I build? Can I add Akali to my pool? Can I build a pool around Akali? What do I pair with Akali? What's a nice secondary champ with Akali? People want to play this champ, and I think she is decent. Would I put her A tier? Maybe bottom of A, but I think she suits a little bit better next to the likes of Zed on the high B tier. I think she's good, but not super good. What do you think?
Yeah, so this is a tricky one, right? Because if we look at it, every S plus champion does bad into Akali in lane except for Taliyah, right? Like, and Zoe, I guess. Well, like Ahri and Azir, for example. Those champions do struggle pretty hard against Akali, in my opinion. I think Azir is pretty bad into Akali because he can't actually side lane anymore, and the lane is actually really tough against a good Akali. Ahri as well. Ahri wins first 5 levels. After that, side lane is really rough. You one-shot Ahri through her dashes, right? So, like, we look at some of the meta champs, she's actually quite good against them, right? Like, Ori as well, Syndra as well, Viktor as well. Like, TF, no. Annie, no. Neeko, she's good against. Like, a lot of these good A-tier champs, she's actually decent, right? So I think personally she is bottom of A in my opinion, because she does have a good matchup against some of the meta mids right now. That's the reason why. I think if like some of the champs that did better against her were more meta, so like if a Jace mid was a little bit better right now, or like some other counter picks were a little bit better, I think she would be a little bit lower.
She's getting some traction here as well.
Yeah, she is. And pro players. She's getting picked a little more. I saw Jojo on player yesterday as well. Had a really good game on her.
Okay, yeah, because I think whenever you play Akali and whenever you play versus Akali, I think there's always this fundamental check in a way. Like, can you slow build your waves? Can you tether out her E plus Q range, her E backwards range? Like, can you respect her trading opportunities, and can you really demolish her when her energy is low? I think one of the key things that this champ also has is that she kind of favors herself in a way that a lot of people don't know how this champ actually works. Yeah,
I agree. Like people get what her kit does, but they don't get how to play against her kit is a specific thing. Like, what do you actually do to counterplay this champ?
Yeah, and there's a lot of small details that make a big difference versus this champion. So I think if you pick this champ, I think it's a skill check, in a way. I think it's literally the better player will win. So I can see top of A, bottom of A. I can see it top of B. In the end, it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah, I don't think it matters that much either.
I'm happy to make a clear distinction and put it bottom of A here.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Right.
I like that.
So, one of my favorite champs, Leblanc. And Leblanc was pretty dog shit in the previous patches. Roa meta. Items. He had bad items. Ludens was a disgusting item on her. Storm Surge wasn't that good at that moment. And LeBlanc just wasn't that good. But Roa meta's gone. Items massively buffed. And you may be wondering what the change is of that 100 gold from Ludens. Well, Ludens is a legit item right now. Right? If we go towards items on mid, we see that Ludens is not like super dog shit. I think it was like really bad. I think it was D tier last time. Yeah. And I think what we also see is that if we up this even, what we find is that Ludens is actually even better comparatively to what's before. So it's still not the best item, but it's a lot better already. And I can feel that because this 100 gold makes a big difference, especially on a champ like LeBlanc, because your trading patterns on this item are so fucking stupid. You just W forward, Q someone to the face, proc the Ludens isolated, and just back, and there's no counterplay.
Yeah, and get your side impact and your Scorch, and it's just like, they can't do anything about it.
It's just very frustrating playing pattern, but it's really good. And also with the Storm Surge, that's now also slightly better. I think we're getting into the position where also with the meta and the items being slightly improved, I think this champ's pretty playable. I played some LeBlanc games. I felt like I had serious impact. She still has her weaknesses, her core weaknesses, of course, but I would say that she is definitely improved, and I would even argue she's bottom of A because of the Luden's changes. But I know that it can be controversial. People would say maybe she's top of B, but I'm pretty confident, and I would definitely want to put it in an A. What do you think about LeBlanc?
Yeah, so I'm not a LeBlanc expert, so I trust your judgment. What I will say is that she got the same treatment that Akali did, right? Item buffs, good for her. Roa nerf, good for her, right? So I think they're very linked together in terms of their place in the meta. I think when Akali is decent, LeBlanc would also be decent, and vice versa, in my opinion. So yeah, I think I'm very happy with her being an A next to Akali.
Yeah, finally some love to this this champion. We're gonna be doing an unranked to master and probably some content with the good old Nathan mod real soon as well on this on this champion.
Nice.
Okay, so from all the positiveness, we're gonna now move on towards a point that is a bit of a sad story here, Kassadin. And I have, for a lot of people, they don't know that, but I have been a Kassadin main of OTP actually for like 2 years, a few years ago. So this used to be one of my baby champs, actually my favorite champ in the game. But he's not been that hot the past few seasons, patches, and they're changing him. Very specifically, what are they changing? They're upping his base armor, which was really low. They're also slightly upping his base damage on E, but they're nerfing a bit of the maximum damage upon the R. This is a controversial change. Yes, his early game becomes a bit better, but his late game becomes a bit worse. I think that this champ is dead. I think it's a dead champ. I don't think you should play this champ. I think you shouldn't have it in your pool. I think that, number one, the agency and the fundamentals that you learn of the game aren't worth it at the moment. His strength in the late game doesn't make up for that. I also think that this champion should have a niche in countering mages. But the reality is, he doesn't. Play against Zoe, play against Ahri, play against Taliyah. Maybe Azir he can play into, right? But play against these 3 champs, or a Syndra, or a Viktor, or an Orianna, you're gonna get murdered. Purely because of how the meta and how good that the players have become at punishing and laning. So, where's the niche? When do we pick this champ? Right?
Against Fizz, who's also bad.
So, yeah, I think they're killing the niche of this champ. I think if they want to bring this champ back, they need to niche him up more. Boost his passive, give him more anti-magic resist, or like anti-magic damage, and keep his late game scaling alive. I think for now, C tier. If you find a good casting angle, can pick it, but I don't think he's worth having in the pool or worth investing time into. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, you're the Kassadin expert. I don't really have much else to add. I think you're spot on. And I think just to really highlight that point, I don't like how they're making it more generic. Kassadin has never been a generic champ. So I think buffing his armor, so it makes it a little bit easier to lane against AD champions or competent mages. Doesn't really make that much sense, in my opinion. They're still going to destroy you, like, regardless. You change, you're still going to get destroyed, right? And yeah, like, you have less scaling now, which is like weird. Like, literally, unironically, Azir probably outskills Kassadin now, right? Like, I think I'd rather have an Azir at 6 items than a Kassadin at 6 items, right? After these changes.
What's these AP scalings? 78%, 65%. It's crazy. I think if you play this champ, you gotta build like tank or something like that. With 65, I think Kassadin had crazy scaling on this ability, and they just nerfed it all down. It is what it is.
Yeah, right. I mean, maybe we could be wrong, and there's like a top lane Kassadin tank build or something that comes out of this, right? Unironically, that's what I can see. But in terms of like the niche for mid, I don't see it.
No, it is what it is, though. Yeah. Let's get to Aurora.
Okay.
I'm a big Aurora lover, but she's not that good at the moment. You had some strong words before this recording.
So I also really like Aurora, right? And this is gonna be like the Hwei conversation again. I think like Mel, Hwei, Aurora, like all these new mid laners. I think people are very passionate about, which is very reasonable. But I think why play this champ over Ahri? That's what I trying to figure out. Like before, her niche was that she's a much stronger lane, right? And she doesn't have as much CC. She has more burst. But the problem is they nerfed her E so hard that one patch that like,
holy moly,
what is the point? Like first of all, people are getting better playing as Aurora. Like we're talking about Masters Plus. Every rotation you base on Aurora, that's like 1% win rate drop. Unironically, I think. Like because you need to dominate your lane. You have to win lane on Aurora. It's like Neeko. Like you have to win lane. The difference is that she has no CC or utility in her kit. The nerf on the R slow, nerf on the E damage. Yeah, it just makes this champ like just always doesn't feel that good. Like I pick a game that's like, oh, this should be a good Aurora game, right? Like a game where there is so much threat where I can't rely on my ult like I would on Ahri to escape, and I have to use my W. Like that would be like against Shaco, right? I used to love playing Aurora against Shaco because if you get ganked, you just W away.
Yeah.
And you're chilling. But like now I pick it against Shaco, and it's like my lane is just whatever, and then their mid laner is 10 times more useful to me because my champ doesn't scale that well, right?
Yeah.
Like because she's a pure burst champion. You build any little bit of health or MR, if you don't one-shot someone, your champ literally cannot do anything, right? So yeah, I don't know. I don't like the direction she's been in. Like I think what they need to do is up her damage and reduce her mobility or something, or do something to give her more damage so she can actually 100 to 0 someone. Because if she can't do that, then she has no. It's like Kassadin. She has no niche. She has no identity. She has no way to play the game. So I think this is controversial. I think D is a stretch, but she's somewhere low for sure. She's definitely somewhere low in there.
So I don't think she's D. I think like if you have a good matchup or you're actually really good at laning fundamentals, you can make the champ work very well. I think she has some similarities to Mel, like as well. Like what I've found is that if I play this champion in any elo higher than 800 LP, I can't land a single skill shot.
That's right.
I play against these. Every Q gets flashed. In the team fights, all my abilities get flashed. I can't land. I do 0 damage. I'm so useless. But if I play this champ below 800 LP, I'll go up with a 65% win rate because I'll shit on my lane. I'll be useful in skirmishes and translate my lead. But above that, I just can't win a game on this champ.
Yeah.
So I think she is. I think she's C tier at the moment.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, we got a cool champ over here, and I think that this is a bit of a hard one to grasp for the normal player. Like, how strong is Sylas really? And I think that there is one player that's really shown what this champ can actually do, and of course it's none other than Chovy. Who else, right? This Chovy has been like dominating on this champion. Like you see this guy where he is able to navigate himself in a position in the game where he's strong enough and doesn't fall behind on this champ, and he takes over. And of course, there's other players like Sega that can also do it, but if you fall behind on this champ, you are so useless.
Yes.
You feel so bad. But if you can get it work, and if you have that strong laning, and if you are able to get towards that point in the game where you can look for skirmishes, and you have decent ults, I think this champ is so insanely good. What's your experience with Sylas?
I think Sylas is one of the most balanced champions ever, right? Like right now. Because he has really big weaknesses. Like some champions he just cannot side lane against, which sucks as a melee champion to not be able to side lane, and you can feel really weak. His laning has a lot of specifics, like it's very reliant on a skill shot on your E2, right? Very reliant on landing your Qs, right? Getting in range for your Ws. So like there's a lot of skill expression and outplay potential from both sides. So I actually really love playing against a champion, and even in my experience playing as a champion, like when I first started playing him, I've been learning him. I really struggled, and as I got more mastery, I learned, okay, how do I situate to land my E level 1? How can I, make sure I stack up my Conquer before I W? When do I max my Q, right? When do I put 4 points in my Q, right? There's like so much flexibility there that I love the design of the champion, like S+ tier design. In terms of his strengths, like as a champion, I think he's decent in the meta. Like he's picked against Viktor, he's picked against Syndra, he's good against Ori, he's good against Hwei. Like all these meta mages, he's good against Ahri, decent against Zoe, decent against Taliyah.
Zoe is not pretty for him. Zoe's murdering him.
Early game Zoe is not too good. But if you can make it to mid game somehow, he's fine. But yes, the lane is hard. But that being said, I think he's A because he's so good against these champions. Like because he's such a balanced champion, like his kit is so good, so well balanced. Like I would say that he's the definition of balanced champ. His placement, in my opinion, will change a lot depending on the meta. Like if for whatever reason, randomly, like I'm just gonna give you a random example. Let's just say for whatever reason, Jace, Ambessa, Yasuo, Yone became the top 4 best mids just out of nowhere. He's the bottom of D all of a sudden, or bottom of C, right? So like, I'm saying that to prove the point, like he's just based off the meta. Like he fills the niche the Kassadin should have. As weird as that sounds, like you wouldn't think that, but he kind of is. Like he is that anti-mage champion.
You see Maokai in the enemy team, and you see Malphite in the enemy team. You can just pick the champ, and it works. Yes, it's this draft you recognize. Let's just do it. It's a Sylas angle. Fuck it, I'm playing versus Tristana. No problem. We're just gonna make it work.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I love that. I also think that if you look at skill ceiling and really what the limits are of this champ, I think he has some similarities to Azir. That this champ actually has a really high skill floor where you got to get towards that point before you can even get remotely results with this champ. And then you also have the ceiling that just stretches insanely far because all of the creative things you can do in lane when it comes to your small minor positioning optimizations, when it comes to angles that you can look for, when it comes to matchup understanding, spacing, everything comes together. And if you can make it work competitively with understanding like the game fundamentals to close out the game, because this champ can play out the mid game any different way as well, you get this champ that is just really solid. Not as good as Azir, but just really, really solid. And I think if you look at, for example, Jovi's Sylas, which I've been studying because I've been making a lot of Sylas content, matchup hot seats for the MLA, it just looks so effortless in a way. Like he just positions himself in the lane, he takes these trades, he doesn't fall behind, he gets the creeps, and then he just transitions so smoothly into these skirmishes and just takes over the game. And it's just a skill that just builds with so much repetition and fundamental knowledge over time. But once you can get there, it's a really good champion to play.
Love it.
Okay, Naafiri. I can't judge on this champ because I've been perma-banning it. What have you seen about
this? Oh, really?
Champ? Yeah.
I think this champ is not that good anymore.
Okay.
I don't think it's that good. At mid. Like, even in jungle, it's not that good right now.
Okay.
After all the nerfs. Well, maybe not that good as a stretch, but she's not, like, supremely busted anymore. I guess is a better way to describe it. I think she's just... I'm not gonna lie. I've not seen it one time in mid. Like, since...
Yeah.
Since, like, it's been only a jungle... Like, I don't even think it's a mid laner, honestly. Unironically, anymore.
Interesting.
Even though they tried to make her a mid laner, like she's more of a jungler now. Like her kit is very messy in mid. I don't know how else to explain it. Like that's the best way to describe it. It's messy. It's a messy kit in lane. Like your E is like, yeah, your E is good. You have good wave clear with your Q. Like you have the vulnerability on your W. But like, I don't know. It's like your W is like a 26-second cooldown because of jungle. So now you have 26 seconds where you're just getting fucking pummeled the whole time, right? So, I mean, her win rate looks good. Her play rate is really bad, though. So, I don't know. I think this is one of those chances where I don't think I had that much experience playing as a mid, but I can see her being, like, average, like a B tier. But this is just going based off of intuition and not based off experience in that regard.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
I just think that the W ability I just fucking hate it, man. It's just so stupid. Yeah, I don't know. I think that this champ is just frustrating to play against, in my opinion. Like, I don't think she's necessarily too good because you just space her, you can always wave clear, you can always just do your thing.
Yep.
But I just... Maybe I'm biased, right? Because I'm the kind of guy that likes the pressure to lane, and I'm the lane guy. But I just don't feel like I can do that properly versus Naafiri. But I don't think she's super good.
I don't think she's very good either.
No.
In mid.
I do think she's playable though. I think she's not bad as well. I would say she fits nice right here to the
I think B is a good spot for her. Yeah.
That's good. So, interesting one. Qiyana. Right, we've had this one pretty high up for a while. And I'm going to be honest, I have not seen any Qiyana mid players since then. I also know that from Edo are...
He's struggling.
Oh man, Edo has dropped like an insane amount in mid. He's lost a lot of games. But yeah, I just want to take a look at how the OTPs are doing before we like judge too much. And we're gonna mainly go to mid, of course. Vietnam, this region doesn't count. Let's go to...
There's one guy. There's only one guy.
We got Top Nacho. What is this guy doing?
I think I played against that guy before.
Okay.
You probably name changes though, but yeah, there's not that many Qiyana mid OTPs. I know there's Dave on as well, but he's in Korea and he's playing Pike, but he usually plays Qiyana as well. Yeah, there's not that many, to be honest.
This guy was in the MLA as well here. Luxurious.
Oh, was he? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the champ's still good though. Like I did a review with Edo this week.
Yeah.
And I look at this champ and it's still just killing people at level 3.
Yeah, I think she's good, but she's like Akali. It's a skill check. Like I noticed as I've gotten better and better and better at the game.
Yeah.
Qiyana's that would just kill me and frustrate me, they just don't do anything to me anymore. Like the only time I get, like, I no longer get caught at level 3. Mid game I don't really get caught. The only timer I still get caught by is level 6 because I die at full health. So sometimes like that's the only timer you gotta watch out for, in my opinion, as you get better. So I don't know, she's weird. I haven't seen that much of her. When I do play against her, I always stomp her because I play a champ is good against her. Like if you play Corki against Qiyana, that matchup is completely unplayable because you rush armor boots, so you rush a Fizz. You play Triss, that's unplayable in my opinion. I just put even Jace is unplayable. LeBlanc. Yeah. So I think she has really high highs, really low lows, which I think that would put her in B, in my opinion.
Especially if you get against players that know what this champ does and also know how to play against this champ. It's so hard to break through versus a fundamentally like solid player.
Yeah, I agree.
So you gotta get very freaky with the skirmishes if you
you gotta be very creative. So I think it's like, I think it's kind of like Zed in that regard. It's like they have the potential, very steep learning curve, a lot of work that needs to be put into it, and yeah, playing against better players just becomes exponentially more difficult.
Yeah. We're gonna now go into the 3 champs which I put next to each other that all basically have benefited from itemization updates.
Yes.
And I think that all of these champs has significantly gotten better because all of these champs are just not the strongest early game laner. So their needlessly large bot spike was just impossible to get against top players.
Horrible. Yeah.
But the Lich Bane now with the blasting wand is actually achievable. So this massive weakness that you had is now just basically removed, which I think if we're going to look at the stats, I haven't programmed them down yet, but I think the difference in win rate is about 1% for each champ in patch difference comparatively to what's the patch before. So what we can do is we can break it down and we can take a look at if it's actually the case. Before that, feel free to share what your thoughts are.
So I'm biased. So like the region you play in, especially as you get high challenger, will really dictate. I think because there's like an Ekko OTP that like beats pros in EU, right? So I think if somebody was on EU, a challenger would say like, I think the Ekko is good, right? Yeah. Or maybe there's some Korean Fizz that's really good. The people will say Fizz is good. And NA, we've got, of course, Cat Evolved, who's all of his LP. He's like 1400 LP. Every other champ besides Cat I play against him on, I beat him. I destroy him. Every single time I play against this Cat, the game is so tough, right? Even if I win lane or like I do decent against him in lane, he always finds a way to just carry the entire game. So I am very biased towards Cat specifically. I think Cat is playable at high elo, even though she's very niche and very skill checky. So if somebody can hit 1400 LP in NA, playing against pro players consistently as Cat, there's got to be some potential there, at least in solo queue, right? Ekko, I haven't seen that much of. Like, I know Ekko is very good against Azir, who is, in my opinion, the best champ in the game right now, so that definitely helps. I think Ekko can be quite good. Fizz, I haven't seen that much on, so I'm very torn between all these champs because, like, I think Fizz is still kind of mediocre, but I think Cat is good, and I think Ekko is in the middle. So if I had to group them all together, I would put them, like, somewhere in, like B as well. Like if I had to group all 3 together, like that's how I would view this like package of champions. Yeah.
So I think what 2 champs benefit a lot more than one other champ. I think Fizz is a nice bonus, but I think Fizz doesn't really benefit from the changes as much as the others, purely because of the fact the wave clear breakpoint. That's the big difference maker. This guy doesn't run that much with a wave clear breakpoint. He's just a stat checker. If Kata gets to the wave clear breakpoint, what this champ does is she takes over the lane. She avoids the lane. That's something that this champ can do with getting to the point. I think that Kata is currently at the point where if you are good on this champ, she's A tier.
Yep.
as sad as it is, I think she's A tier. I think she's actually decent. I think Ekko.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think Ekko could be A as well.
I think he's up there. Right. Let's take a look at what the best Ekko OTPs are currently doing, because it's going to be a nice little bit of. It's a lot of jungle, unfortunately. But look at that. There's some high elo games.
Yeah.
You got V2, you got Ekko Neeko, right? EU's got a lot of... EU is like an Ekko region. I don't know what it is. People love this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many Ekkos in EU, and then I go to NA, there's like one at like 700 LP.
Yeah. Holy shit, GM's 520 with you guys?
No, it's not. I think that guy's probably losing. I think it's like 580 or 600 or something.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely think there's like this champ's decent. Like, I think there's arguments that we want to put him at A, but I feel a little bit better not putting him above Qiyana and just rather in the same line.
Yeah, I think so as well. Actually, I think Qiyana and Ekko have similar properties. Like, yeah, I like that a lot. I think that.
Yep. So, Corki, right? You mentioned a bit about Corki before we started recording this. What's your thoughts on him?
Okay. Corki is the anti-meta beatdown champion, right? Corki, in my opinion, in mid, once you learn him, beats every non-meta mid. So, like, if I were to place him on the tier list right now, before I keep discussing, he'd be right above Galio, right in front of Galio, so right behind the control mages. Every champion below that, he can beat. Like, I look at every single champion on that list, he's beating almost every single one of these champions in lane. Like, he's the anti-meta champion beater. Like, for me playing at him a lot, I put in like 60 games on my Smurf.
Yeah.
Like, you just win every lane. Because what happens is, like, these harder lanes that are in like B tier and C tier, your champ just one-shots the wave. Like, your Q kills the wave instantly. So you just one-shot the wave. You have priority. Your champ scales like a beast at 2 items. You're an 80 champion with priority, which is very, very strong.
You build health, so you're hard to kill.
Yeah, you build health. Yeah, exactly. Oh, you just that's what I mean. Like, you just incinerate every assassin. Like, I pick Corki against an assassin. Oh my god, like, it's just a free win. It's like, I play against Yasuo, free win. Like, he jumps on me, I W, he loses his entire health bar. Like, I play against Yone, W, loses his entire health bar. Like, he's just the anti. If you don't play meta, like the meta champs against Corki, you're getting destroyed. So I think he's like A right in front of Galio, because every other champ below that, he just annihilates to the ground, in my opinion. Like, honestly,
I think he couldn't make it. I don't think he could have made it any clearer. I think this is the perfect explanation here.
Yeah,
actually, you don't play any of these champs above here. Try Corki into Syndra, see what happens. All right.
Corki to Azir is so fucking bad as well. Yeah.
Exactly. So this champ is really, really, really strong. If you can, of course, you gotta have some laning fundamentals with it. You gotta understand how to weave in these out attacks and when your trading windows are actually happening.
Yep.
But once you do that, you can go perfect CS. Like, how can you miss a farm on this champion?
You can't miss farm. You can't. You instantly one shot the wave, so you get pry whenever you want. You win every trade because you build health and armor. And this champ has like insane base damage because any champ that's short range has to have high base damage. So what they did with Corki is such short range for most of the spells is his base damage is insane. So you just stack defensive items. If anyone tries to run at you, you just destroy them. Like, you out assassinate an assassin while building defensive items. Right? Yeah. It's crazy. It's insane.
And especially the beauty about Corki is you can do that while being safe, because you are so hard to kill with that W ability.
Yes.
Beautiful champion. So we've been stringing along for quite a while here, yapping away.
Yeah.
But there's one more class of champs that we've not really included everywhere else, and it's just the 80 carry mids that aren't Corki and Tristana, basically.
It's Smolder, yeah.
So
like the more traditional ADCs, like Lucian. I saw Vladdy play Jin and MF mid and solo queue and high challengers. So like that's Ezreal mid, like that bucket. Caitlyn mid, like. Okay, so all of these champs are technically viable, but they're just too. They're not realistic for a mid lane tier list. They're too difficult. They're too niche. Like, Caitlyn would be like good against like one matchup. Like, I played Caitlyn into like Jace, and that felt really, really good because he can't jump on you. And, like, that's just a random niche, right? Like, I'm not gonna include that in a tier list. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Lucian is good against Yone if you have like, 1800 LP challenger hands, right? Like, again, I don't want to include that in a tier list. It's like these champs are like good, but like I don't feel comfortable recommending them in any spot. It's just like, don't play them. But like, it's worth commenting about them because they are technically playable mid. I just don't think they're suitable for a mid lane tier list. Because if you're gonna play these champs, you don't give a shit about their tier list anyway. You're just gonna play them, right? When it's a good game for them.
Yep.
So that's what I take for those champs.
We're gonna put them in D tier because I don't think it's realistic to like.
Yeah, it's not.
No one's watching this is 1900 LP. If you are, comment comment. If you're 1900 LP, comment with your OBG. Do it.
If you're 1800 LP with the 1800 LP mid laner I played against earlier, if you were quad and I played against you on Lucian when I was Yone, then comment. And then
go on, we'll do some checking, and if we have an 1800 LP player in chat here, we'll include all of them next. All of them next tier list. All right.
Yeah.
So yeah, that basically wraps it up. Like, I think overall, I'm really happy with how it's looking. I feel like the meta's shifted in a very decent way. We have, like, I honestly think that we have a beautiful meta around us right now. I'm really happy with how it's looking. Any final words you wanna give on the tier list?
Well, the thing I want to end off is that we love Hwei, guys. So please don't attack us.
No attacking us on Hwei.
we love Hwei. We don't love Aurora or Mel around these parts anymore, though. So completely blame us for that. But we love Hwei. But yeah, I mean, if you want to climb, guys, I would say Taliyah, Zoe, RA are your best bets for sure. Like Azir, good, but again, difficult. But any of those other champs in the S+ tier, if you're like, let's say you just started your Master Plus journey, you're like low Master, you're like, fuck, I want to rework my pool. Get that Ahri and that Taliyah in there. Get those champs in your pool. That I think that's my finishing statement there. Just get those champs in your pool, and you're gonna be really happy.
Love it. Okay, guys, thank you all for watching. We'll be back in 2 weeks with another tier list. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you guys there. Peace out. Bye bye.